Scene. Whoa. What's up, guys? Welcome to Scarred Thumb Podcast. It looks like the audio's doing pretty well. I'm actually a little surprised that it can be that good. Let's see. I've been a little bit busy. You can see on screen, I've been working on little like fun art projects. I gotten into collecting Pokemon cards lately, and doing stuff with them and that kind of stuff. So I've been busy trying to work out some stuff, colors, options, a lot of things like that. It's a lot of fun, but you can really get sucked into it when you're designing stuff. Let's see. So, but there's been there's some interesting stuff that happened this week. Kind of funny. Nothing like crazy, like earth-shattering, but a lot of fun stuff we got here. A lot of woke people getting what's theirs, which is always good to see. You always want to see. So no, it's that, and then this is that. And then poop. And then one last thing. Have you noticed, like, this is what I've been doing with the prints? Like, the idea is there's a lot of cards that are really cheap. They have awesome artwork, but when it comes to the market value of the card, they're almost, it's non-existent. It's pennies. But, why not enjoy the card rather than, they just get thrown into like a cardboard box somewhere where they're just stacked up. But, certain cards that you really like, you really enjoy. I mean, look at how nice that looks. You could put that, on your desk, on your wall, and just enjoy the card art, the beautiful art that's in this, that's in these sets. Let's see here. And what's the last one? Yes. I'm going to show off the video for. I've been playing Night Raid, and it's been a lot of fun. There we go. Boop. Up. Hey, what's going on, Jack? Deborah, good to see you. A lot of dual streaming today, huh? Oh, guess that's to be expected. Sometimes, I'm not the only game in town. I recognize that. But I'm glad you all joined me today. So let's get into it. First off, Electronic Arts cancels Black Panther game and closes the studio making it. Oh no, Cliffhanger Games and the single-player Black Panther project were announced less than 2 years ago. And, well, bloodletting continues at Electronic Arts. They decided that the Black Panther game just wasn't worth pursuing. And, that Wonder Woman game got canceled. Different studio, that was Warner Brothers' game, but I think people realized, superhero games just, I guess, aren't guaranteed money. And they're got to cut stuff down, so that means, stuff's going to get cut. Cancellation. In an email sent by Electronic Arts Technology President Laura Malay, according to the report, says the decision to halt the project and shut the studio was necessary to sharpen our focus and put our creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities. Decisions are hard, and they lay off between 300 and 400 employees, and they canceled 2 incubation projects that happened just 3 months after the company made significant cuts to BioWare following the fail. I like how they're just openly calling it a failure now. It's always like, when it comes out, they'll defend the crap out of it, like since it was super representative, super woke. They're like, okay, no, it's doing well. Look, it's doing all right. It's okay. And then it's like, nah, it's a failure. A few months later, they'll just be honest and tell you what the reality is. Dragon Age failed miserably. But the good news, the silver lining behind this, is that this woman who worked at Cliffhanger Studios is out of a job. Hopefully forever, but you never know.
I have a team of 21 right now for Validate. It's a pretty big team. It's a crazy big team for indie games.
How did I manage to...
I have a team of 21 right now.
What a lovely woman, looking woman, too.
For Validate. It's a pretty big team. It's a crazy big team for indie games. But who is your team? Validate has a team of mostly all people of color. We have no white people on our team.
Oh, really?
I did that because
By the way, she's saying that comfortably. That's the reality in the video game industry. You could say something like that and totally be all right with it. Just in the open.
I wanted to create a safe environment. And I know the best way for an environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me.
I'd be safe if people are out just like, well, I say that all the time, but I got to worry. I can't say it in public. I'll lose my job. Come on. I mean, she's not wrong. But I don't think she wants that applied equally among every race.
And I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments. I'm not saying that. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that sometimes it is hard to work with white people because they think that something made it okay, but it was really a microaggression. And no one wants to deal with it.
Do you know that 15% of white people commit 50% of the microaggressions?
With that while you're trying to make a game that they love. I have a team of 21 right now.
Exactly. Quiet, lads. A black woman is speaking, sharing her. Honestly, if you switch some of the colors around, she's making a very good point. But this woman's out of a job now, and I'm very happy that she is. She was working for Cliffhanger. It's just amazing that you could say that shit out loud, and then it's cool. Oh, white people? It's all right. It's all right to not want them around. Just say like, yeah, we'll just have a full team of black people. If again, like freedom of speech or whatever, the Constitution, it just shows you how totally eviscerated it is when if you try to do that with white people, Civil Rights Act, people be going after you. Yeah, you can't do that. Freedom of association. All of that doesn't apply when you're white. But hey, if you're a black woman, you could do that. No problem. Well, yeah, exactly. How's Zimbabwe doing without Rhodesia? But she's out of a job, and that's pretty funny and pretty enjoyable. So a little Schadenfreude, I think, is the word for it. She is out of a job. And I mean, really, do we need the Black Panther game? Do we need another superhero game? I don't think so. It does not seem like it's gonna be a great game. It's probably just gonna be AAA slop or AA. I don't know how big that studio was. Like it was 300 people. It might be okay. But this was not specifically video game related, but this is, I guess, video game culture related. And I'm surprised this stuff is still happening. It seems like there's a vibe, a vibe shift happened, but a lot of these institutions are still captured. They're still run by leftists. And this happened to Camelcast, was a NASCAR driver. He did like a Timcast. He's done like some stuff with like Cyberfrog. It's like Ethan Skivers, very right-wing comic books guy. So he's done stuff with them. So he is kind of associated with the right wing. And to all the people that bought tickets for Games and Geeks Expo, they've been kicked from the event. One of the vendors and photographers from the event said, "I'm a Nazi," which again, like they just throw that word out there. And I've been canceled from the show. Thank you again for your interest in being part of a Game and Geek Expo. We appreciate the time and effort you put into your content and the support you've shown to our event. Oh, it's so kind. And then like now they'll hit you with the rest. After careful consideration, we made the decision moving forward without your involvement in this year's show. While we truly appreciate your recent efforts, including the removal of one of your flagged videos, again, like get rid of it. Can you remove this video? They always like ask you for concessions. It's just a waste of time with these people. While we appreciate including the removal of flagged videos, additional content has since surfaced such as raised continued concerns from our community, guests, and sponsors. Unfortunately, we've already experienced a loss of sponsors. Several other guests participating in this event due to this situation in the beginning of the negative affect our overall perception of the event and inclusivity. I love the word inclusivity because it apparently, again, it just means no right-wing people. That's what inclusivity means. Not including anyone to the right, anyone that disagrees with us. It's the opposite of inclusive of our event. Please understand this is not a reflection of you as a creator. Of course it's not, but necessary step to ensure we maintain a space that is, again, like they pad you with this bullshit and then they say crap like this to ensure that space is welcoming, respectful, and positive for all attendees. All attendees. No, it's not. It's just this language is such bullshit. These guys just need to go. They really need to go. There needs to be some alternative. I just want to see these people crushed, destroyed, impoverished. This is just absolutely, we respect your right for a creative session of free speech, but we have responsibility to our broader community. Broader. It's just such lies. Such lies. Why don't they just speak directly? It says everything they say is the opposite. It's not welcoming, respectful, and positive. It's, again, we just want a rigid left-wing environment. Anyone that disagrees with us, we're not going to welcome in. We want to create a completely rigid ideological space and ostracize you from it. We hate you. We hope you die is what they should say. But, that isn't. And then he mentions it, and then this is just cherry on top. The funniest part is I had two guys at my NASCAR race Friday with VIP access that worked for the Expo leadership. Guess that's why I was told after the race. So he's he's smoozing them, and they're giving them access to the stuff. Hey, come down here, and then they stab them in the back. They claim they had a lot of vendors, lost a lot of vendors as a result of me, but they're all sold out. They're liars. Of course they're liars. But you just still see this happening, and it just really just highlights the need to really make your own stuff. The vibe is shifting. I think there is an opening in a lot of places for some of these old institutions to die and new stuff to sort of raise up. With that, or like younger people need to move up and capture these institutions. Volunteer, take over. Maybe some like the boomer guys that kept running it. Gen Xers, they're getting old. People need to be replaced. And I think they're prime for capture or just replacement, overall replacement. So like, hey, we're gonna make an event. Actually, don't make it welcoming at all. Just make it like, hey, it's mostly this is an event. It's aimed at guys. It's unabashedly for guys. Come and have fun. We're not gonna have a bunch of gay shit. It's gonna be a good time. And I think people would go there 100% and enjoy it. It is definitely have a huge chance. And you get they could fork off. I think it's big enough at this point. You go to a lot of these events and it's just too big. There's too many people. And having some competition or, a different event, I think it could work very well. Though, it does I will say stuff just tends to congregate together naturally. I think eventually the right wing will capture that. Because at this point, like, who wants to deal with this shit? This was another fun thing. Speaking of like freaks, this is Paimon's English voice actor. Again, speaking of leftists capturing stuff, but they might be going away too.
So, are there any new major roles coming up for you soon, or is it still just going to be Paimon? I know you're not voicing Paimon at the moment, but is there any new roles that you have coming up?
Correct. After Jacob was replaced, I sent notice to Hoyo saying that I would no longer voice Paimon until they became union, so they'll probably just replace me. But
they'll probably just replace me. Goodbye. Nothing of value is lost. Oh well, that's why I don't listen to these gacha games with English voiceovers. It's always either the Chinese or the Jap. I think I prefer Japanese more than anything. Chinese is a weird dialect. I think it's an ugly language compared to Japanese. There's like like it has like stuff like that, you know. Well, Japanese is a little bit different. It's like arigato gozaimasu, that kind of stuff, you know. It just sounds bad. I don't know. Let's move on before I make more racist impressions. This was another thing that was very, very interesting. Again, like I said, freedom of speech, you know, this general openness and welcoming, like, hey, you can do whatever you want, you know, let's go in here and be creative. It's a creative space. Yeah, it's all a lie. EA cracking down on DEI remover mod for The Sims. There is a mod, however, that has caused a bit of controversy. This is from Pirate Nation here. DEI remover is a mod that changes diverse character options found in the game to straight and white. Oh no. Characters. EA is reportedly trying to have the mod removed from various websites, but it keeps being re-uploaded according to a report from Wired. It just came across a Sims 4 mod that removes DEI by forcing all pre-made Sims to be white, straight, thin. The horror. And changing LGBTQ couples into siblings, she wrote. This isn't just a mod. It's intentionally erasing a representation and pushing a harmful and disgusting agenda. Wow. Huh. They would know about pushing a harmful and disgusting agenda. I think I know what it feels like to have a harmful and disgusting agenda pushed on me constantly. The Sims have always been about creativity, diversity, and making a space for everyone to tell their story. I guess unless you're straight, white, and thin. This completely goes against that. One Sim player said, sure thing. It's so funny. Even Asmongold commenting on it. So really get indicated that India has too much staff and could stand another round of layoffs. Exactly. I think this is a player that said that, not an employee, I hope. Let's see, she wrote. But I guess EA might be working with them. I could believe that. But it's amazing. It's amazing. You can't... Oh, no. So wait, it turns black people into... Oh, no. Oh, no. I can't believe it. They're just siblings instead of gay. See, that's fun. That's just an option players can enjoy. Well, what's wrong with that? Just play the game how you want. But apparently, when you violate the when you add heretical options for their religion, when you violate their religion, you see what happens, how mad they get, and you wonder, like, it doesn't seem to be about what they say it is. It seems to be kind of this ideology. Interesting. Very interesting. It's another thing. Like, it's kind of disjointed, but I've been pretty busy. And, well, not a huge amount of news. So Stellar Blade demo has peaked. The demo is out for PC. It's peaked so far, 100K on ship, no problem. I just don't get Grum's. I guess I get why he's doing it. And then your freaking Torch game. De novo has to be removed. Stellar Blade fans, the simping for this game is so stupid. Honestly, it's like, this is a mid-action game from all accounts. I haven't played it, so I can't say firsthand, but everything about this game looks like it's a mid-action game with, a hot girl in it, which, knowing that the studio developer is a gacha game developer, it makes sense. They're the king. Gacha games are the king of mid gameplay with, good-looking characters. That's the trend all of them follow. So it's not surprising. I guess they've just chosen this as their game, their flagship to rally behind. And the demo's all right. It's not setting the world on fire, and I don't expect the PC release to be amazing. I mean, you really have to go day and date to get a huge. I think making them disjointed hurts PC sales. I think people just play it on the PS5. Most of the people have already played it on the PS5, and then there'll be a few people that don't own PlayStations or really want mods on it that are going to play it and enjoy it. Though to be honest, I don't think Stellar Blade's a good enough game to really justify huge numbers anyway. It's so I just whenever I see it, it's like all the people commenting under it's Stellar Blade. It's an amazing game. These are the guys. This is my only problem with a lot of this anti-woke stuff is I think these guys don't have like any taste whatsoever in video games. It's an amazing game. When I played, I was shocked by how good the combat felt and how good the graphics look. The music's great too. I'd happily 100% this game. All right, sure thing, buddy. This was a fun story, and honestly, I have no idea what's going on with this. So a commemorative plaque celebrating the release of Sony's beleaguered shooter Concord is up for auction at Goodwill, and the bids were already over 3,000. I say were because it doesn't seem like the thing is still up. Oh, exactly. Wait for it. Exactly. For Stellar Blade, if it ever goes on sale for like $20 or like $10 or something like that, I'll definitely buy it and play it and try it out. But from what I've seen, the combat's very much like the boss flashes a color of an attack and then you dodge that attack and then you keep hitting it. It's a combat that's you've seen like a million times before. I'm not really into all of that, like, oh, it's a counter, you just sort of like strafing each other, waiting for the enemy attack, then you do something, then you do it again, and then you do it again, and like your character goes in these really cinematic tumbles and whatever. But anyway, back to things. So someone donated this plaque. This is a Sheila Grace, founding Free Gunner North Star Crew Worldwide Concord launch. So this little plaque here with the disc, pretty nice looking. This ended up in the Goodwill, where it belongs, in the dumpster where it belongs. Concord only sold around 25,000 copies. One estimate. That's amazing. Of course, IGN gave it a 7. Wow. They really have their finger on the pulse of what fans want. So, 16 compelling characters. Yep. So wait, this is what they said. Concord isn't the most innovative or content-heavy shooter you could play, but with such fantastic competitive gameplay, IGN wrote this, 16 compelling characters to master. Yes, IGN. You are definitely have your finger on the pulse. Everyone loved these compelling characters. 12 well-designed maps. It's got the make of something that could go the distance in the months and years to come. They were paid to write this. This is like an ad read. Like, it's not the most innovative, but man, it's got legs, guys. That really aged well. So if you're thinking the plaque could be where something collectors and fans like, you're not wrong. Dozens of bids. It was at like 3,000. But if you look at the item listing, here's what it gets. Auction ended, which it didn't end. It said item removed. What the heck? What's happening with this? What is happening with this item? I want to know. Like, no one's followed up on it. What's happening with it? I want to know. What's going on? Chief creator of the upcoming Anthology 6 spoke out up the first time Concord's closure, and then just, padding this thing for content here by mentioning that $2 million that was not enough to fund Concord's entire development, nor did it include the purchases of Concord IP from Firewalk itself. Raised $200 million. Damn. It's the biggest failure in video game history at the moment. I'm sure at some point it will be beat, but they really managed to do it. It's like so much money thrown into this, and just so bad. Boom. I don't know what happened to the plaque. Like, what could have happened to this plaque? Did the owner contact and say it was stolen? Did they take it down to bring it to another auction where they think they can get more money for it? What happened? Was it getting just too much attention? And they're like, oh, did somebody steal it from Goodwill? One of the Goodwill employees oh, damn, this is worth $3,000. I'm stealing it. And then walk off with it? Who knows? I don't know what's going on, but I want to know what the answer, and no one's giving me an update on this. Where's the update? Where is the update on it? This was updated. I don't see the update. But it's gone. No one's told me yet. I looked for it last night to see if there's any listing, but no, it's gone. I wanted to see how far it go. I thought this thing could have gotten to 10,000 by the time the bidding ended. So, and I won't get to know. It sucks. I'm so disappointed. I was like, this could get to 10,000. I wanted to see it, but now I won't know how it ends. Or at least this chapter is ended, but maybe a new chapter is going to begin. What will become of the Concord plaque? I need to know. But yet, we don't know. It's really disappointing. Really disappointing. Well, I'll update you guys. Stay tuned. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast so you can get the latest news on the Concord plaque and what's become of it. News story. Now, here's a game that is selling some copies, moving a lot of copies. I think some people already said it's sold over 2 million so far, which I can believe because when you look at these Steam numbers, you're definitely selling millions of copies here. Right now, 24-hour peak is at 300,000. We're talking about Elden Ring Night Rain. So Night Rain is this it's based sort of in the Elden Ring universe. I never played Elden Ring, so don't trust my review. Don't trust my knowledge of Elden Ring here. But basically, it's sort of a timed. You go into this arena. It's a multiplayer game where 3 people go into this map. They drop into this map. You've got semi-random stuff, bosses and locations that you can go to. I guess they're not super random, but what shows up is randomized. So you go in, you have to fight these stuff, level up, collect gear. Like I said, you're under a time limit as sort of this night starts to descend, and basically the ring sort of shrinks, kind of like Fortnite, which is a crazy thing to say in an Elden Ring game. But it's cool because it gives you a time limit that you have to collect as much as you can, level up as much as you can. The first day ends, and then the ring expands again for day 2, and then that contracts again. Again, you're trying to level up, collect everything you can, and then at the end of day 2, you fight. At the end of each day, you fight a boss, and then at the I'll go over it later in the game of the week, which is going to be Night Rain. But then third day you fight the big boss, and hopefully, you collect enough gear, leveled up enough, you're able to fight it and handle it. They could be pretty tough. The game is pretty tough overall, especially for me, since I really suck at it. I haven't played a Souls game since Dark Souls 2, so I'm a little bit out of the loop on this stuff. But if you look at the rating right here, pretty mixed reviews. It's at 67.03%. And with Steam reviews, I think, and I've heard other people say this, but I think it's accurate, is Steam reviews are more like the customer service sort of experience of the game, not necessarily, how good the game is. And there's been a lot of matchmaking issues right now. And I think that kind of reflects a lot of the Steam reviews, is it's very hard to find a game sometimes. Because it has to be 3 people. You're locked into that, basically. So, if you look at the Metacritic score, for an Elden Ring game, for like a FromSoft game, which is just, they just, jizz themselves over all the time, journalists, Night Rain, RPGs. But of course, this isn't really an RPG in a sense, since it has like a gate on it. And, it's sort of repetitive each day. It sort of repeats. It's a very, arcade style game. So it's not going to get the same, it's same feel good number go up constantly, like ding, 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 ding type of stuff that you get in a traditional RPG. So it's probably not going to be as widely appealing as other people might say. So user score is even lower. It's 5.9. Metacritic score is 7.7. Is some people don't really like it as much. I don't know if this is a flop from software status. 1 feels like they wanted a new director to try something, but wow, people giving it a 1. It seems a little unfair. Let's see what these guys say. Game 8 unleashes FromSoft's savage, soulsworn grit into a whirlwind of multiplayer chaos and irresistible thrill ride. Good day. Who writes this stuff? Is this an advertisement? Thrill ride that drags you and your fellow Nightfarers back from just one more cursed round. Multiplayer isn't flawless, and solo runs, though still fun, tip into widely imbalanced, leaving you bruised, battered, and beyond tarnished. So one of the complaints is that you can't play it solo. The whole game's designed around 3 people. Now I guess maybe that's what they don't like. But like I said, it's been having some issues. This is from Eurogamer. FromSoft acknowledges issues with Elden Ring Night Rain matchmaking. FromSoft suggests players check NAT settings. Oh boy, that is definitely something else. I remember back in the day, like 2001, like, oh yeah, check your NAT settings, like powered by GameSty. That's when you know things are going bad, when companies are telling you to check your NAT type. Check your NAT type with the following steps. So I'm saying network connection. Check connection status. You have to make sure NAT type 3 may affect matchmaking on the PSN. Oh, it's PSN issues. Jumping into Night Ring this weekend are struggling to find a player 2 or player 3 are not alone. That people are struggling to find a co-op partner. Now, of course, you have to play it. And this is actually one of the real issues, especially with like the PlayStations, or like, it seems like when you're playing with randoms, everybody likes to use a Wi-Fi connection instead of a, wired connection. It's not good, and I do feel their pain. Where it's like just lag constantly, and I don't know how that affects like in-game world. I've had a little bit of like, so far playing with my brothers, we're all on pretty good connections. We're pretty close to each other in terms of like, placement. So you'd think the ping wouldn't be too bad. I've had some issues where like the monsters are disjointed, or like they like loads in and then suddenly dies because they were ahead of me and they killed it. But overall, it hasn't been too bad. But if you're playing with randos, it could give you some issues, which, I mean, that is one of the downsides to making it all multiplayer, is that you're going to have this issue where if you have to make it and you balance it around 3 people, then you have to have reliable partners to play with. And if you're playing with random people, it's really rough. At least, with a game like Helldivers, you could do it solo. You could have enough of influence, and there's not, like a ton of like stat-based stuff, which is the curse of RPGs, is the stat-based stuff. So if you play really well, you can make it happen. But with stuff like Elden Ring, I think it's a lot harder. Though I have seen people do it solo. I'm just wondering just how much time that stuff takes. if you don't have like 3 people attacking something, sounds like it'd be pretty rough. I always have a Cat5 cable plugged into Vault. Exactly. Wire connections. If you're gaming, that's what you got to do. If you're hardcore, you got to be wired. You got to be wired. There's no, except nothing else. Well, let's move on from Night Rain. I thought this was a funny thing. Former Dragon Age writer says, there's something wrong. Says EA always spoke about a hypothetical nerd cave full of diehard RPG fans who would always show up, so you'd have to try to appeal to them. And you know what? I can definitely see people thinking that. Something exact like, hey, they're going to love this no matter what. They're always going to play. Because there are people like that. You know, it's like no matter what trash you put out, they're going to play it. So you don't have to worry about appeal to them. I think, unfortunately for them, this nerd cave full of diehard RPG fans, what they mean is like straight white guys. They're always going to show up and play, oh, cool, new Dragon Age. Didn't work out for them, though. Didn't work out at all. And, well, this, I think, was an interesting to bring this back up. I've talked about this before, but this is the Trust Thermocline. Explains how companies suddenly lose customers and employees. And sort of going into this, he explains, John Bull's explanation is straightforward. If you gradually provide less quality for more money, I mean, damn, if this isn't gaming in 2025, you gradually eroding your customers' trust in you as a provider. At some point, your customers will lose faith and bail. And it won't be because of one specific change. It will be due to a breach of faith so bad that leaving or switching to a new provider will be worth the cost. And honestly, at this point, there's so many RPGs out there. You're so flooded with RPGs that if you're not competing, if you're putting in like just lame crap all over the place and expecting them to just keep going, it's not happening. It is not happening. He explains that breach is never sudden and silent. Customers complain. Everyone on Medium is familiar with this. Every time there's a change in the algorithm or interface or multitude of articles coming out declaring the end of Medium. But this is speaking specifically of Medium, but, you know, just put in whatever, like, franchise you want. But their grumblings are largely ignored by the provider because the customers are still putting money down. But continue to put money down doesn't signal trust as much as it indicates a lock-in. So at some point, it's never like sudden or like, you know, gradual decline. It's always like, you know, all right, we played this game. This game's all right, but it's still kind of fun. And then at some point, they're just like, they see enough. They're like, you know what? Screw it. I'm done. I'm out. And I'm going to play something else. And that's how it is. So that nerd cave of diehard RPG fans who will always show up, at some point they're just like, nah, see you later. We'd rather play Elden Ring. We'd rather play, you know, some other RPG, Expedition 33 or whatever you want to, whatever, take your pick, you know, Final Fantasy Rebirth. There's a ton of RPGs to play right now. And they didn't show up. So Dragon Age and BioWare, they're in trouble. And now they're in real serious trouble. BioWare used to be a powerhouse for RPGs. Now people are like, ooh, is Mass Effect needs to like save that company or they're done. Or maybe Mass Effect doesn't even get made. Maybe it's get shut down beforehand. And they give the IP to like someone else. I don't know if, you know, BioWare owns that IP or not. Or, you know, EA owns it and can give it to someone else. But, yeah, they're going down. And, honestly, I'm glad to see it. Because BioWare has just become one of the, like, biggest, like, total, like, ideologically captured leftist game companies out there. So, it's, you get what you deserve, as far as I'm concerned. Last thing, well, no, not last, but this is just really, this is a little frustrating because it's the control that Nintendo has in this era, or like really any video game company has in this era, is just insane. So Switch 2 out in the wild, though locked behind day one update. And it's just, I understand why companies would want to do this, but their ability to do this is just sickening. As reported yesterday, stores have started to receive Nintendo Switch 2 consoles ahead of the launch on the 5th of June. Someone who managed to grab one from an undisclosed retailer has revealed that the console is unplayable as it needs a day one update to function. So, like, you have to connect this to the internet in order for the Switch 2 to function. How insane is that? So it's technically unusable. You can check out the very swift unboxing video on Nintendo Switch 2 down below. This was removed from Nintendo Switch 2. Removed from Reddit. Oh, no. But just crazy. Really crazy. That, one, they can get away with doing that. And two, that they would do that. It's like, why? Why would you make your game unusable until you connect to online? It's nuts. Or you prevent a few thieves. I think you're going to hurt more people than you help. But Nintendo doesn't care at that point. You know, that's a business decision. That's corporations making a decision rather than, you know, video game players. It's sad to see, but it's I'd assume like every console maker is going to do that at this point. This was cool. It's some. Let's end on some funner news too. So, this is a Pilstead from Helldivers. Helldivers have like this big like defensive Super Earth thing. Around 2.5 million Helldivers playing the game every week. Super excited to see how many more log in with this update. So happy and blessed that we have such an amazing community. So Helldivers is still doing well. You know, they lost a lot of people. There's a lot of frustration, but they seem to be on the upswing now, and they've got a sort of loyal base of players. So it's good to see. And Helldivers was one of my favorite games of last year. And good to see that it's doing well. And this was just some funny thing. Look at this. So the Switch 2 versus Street Fighter, stuff that no one ever asked for. We'll have gyro control mode where you tilt the Joy-Con to move and shake it around, automatically performs attacks. Look how does this not look like fun to play? Look at the hand. Some guy with Parkinson's is going to be the best Street Fighter player in the world. Man, that's wild. I don't understand why you would add this feature. It seems so terrible. I mean, I haven't tried it. Maybe I shouldn't knock it until I've tried it, but this seems like such a terrible way to play a video game that I just don't know why they would add it. But let's go to the game. Let's go to the game of the week. This is one of the only things I don't like is like sometimes there's a little bit of downtime in between PlayStations, but I think you kind of need it because at least the PlayStation itself is pretty intense. Guys, this is Elden Ring Night Rain. Oh, dang, it doesn't have sound. I think it was AFK at the start because they started without telling me. I was alt-tabbed to let me go put where I moved. Oh, here we go. Here's some sound. I was alt-tabbed at that point, so let me turn this down a little bit. Elden Ring, you're fighting like these giant pots here. It's basically Souls, but you have like different classes you can play as. This guardian guy focuses on using shields, which doesn't always work that well. Of course, it could be, you know, skill issue on my part. You get random drops that pop out, you know, stuff like little like stuff that items that buff you or weapons. We can look here. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Here I am reviving. You're fighting. you have to run around the map fighting these different bosses. These are like the flame chariots. I will say, you know, Dark Souls, Elden Ring, all these stuff, they have like a really cool aesthetic. I ended up disconnecting at one point in this. Very odd. It was the only time I disconnected in the entire thing. Really the only network issues, which was impressive, you know. Basically, you know, with Monster Hunter, I had constant connection issues, so FromSoft is at least doing a better job on that front. But it almost seemed like it was almost a crash rather than a network issue. Like, I went to pick up an item or go other an item, and if like you look at these, and then it just crashed. But if you look at the, what, can I bring that up? So, if you look at these items, there's like a lot of items you can pick up. They have like an attack stat, but even stuff like the longbow has a like modifier, a little buff. What's interesting about the item system is like I could pick this up and I'll still get this buff. As long as it doesn't have like a hand icon, then it gives you that buff. So this would reduce spell FP cost, which my character doesn't use spells, so I don't give a damn about the 10%. But even if I did, I'd still pick it up even if I never used this bow, you know, if the buff was good. So there's a lot of interesting stuff to consider. And like right here, once you beat a boss, you get your choice of like 2 or 3 things that you can pick up. So do I want this weapon? This fire weapon looks pretty cool. And then you have like the Executioner Great Axe. And then they each have their own little buff, like take damage, restores FP. I don't care about FP. But Great Axe might be cool. Got flame status. You know, got a little a fire ability too. So there's like several things to consider when you're picking your stuff. And then you have improved, on the bottom, you have improved affinity damage negation. So it boosts magic, lightning, and holy damage negation, which is cool. A nice buff for like a more defensive character. I'm not sure what I pick. I liked my spear, so I picked that up. There's a lot of things to consider while you're like running around. And again, this whole time, you're on the clock as things contract. So you have to consider very quickly like what to pick. It makes it like very like a frantic but fun experience. And especially when you're playing with people, like, do I want to get the shield? It's not as good as my other shield, but it's got a parry on it, and it has this ability improved guard counters, which is a great ability for my class. So you're basically just constantly running around deciding like, hey, where are we gonna go? What are we gonna kill? You know, can we kill this boss in time before the night closes in? You sure I'll like try and like maximize just how much stuff you can collect and get. And of course there is elements of randomness too, which, you know, just always going to happen with these type of games. They love the random loot. If it was static, then you could rat it out pretty easy and I think solve it a little bit too easy. So having that extra thing just improves longevity and kind of excitement. See that you can see night closing in, so I gotta get out of here before I get caught in the ring. That blue circle is the sort of night closing in, and the white circle is where it was where it will contract to. Eventually, you get a. Let me see if I can find skip ahead to like the end of day boss. Let's see. See if I can skip to where night's closing in on us here. You know, we fight the main boss. So basically, it all contracts to this one single circle. And no, they don't get more powerful at night. Basically, it's like by the day. They get more powerful the second day. But that's it. After you have to fight a few things, and a boss should appear here now. Yeah. So this is like this guy called Tiba Mariner. He's like some guy, like a River Styx type of guy. He summons a bunch of skeletons with him. So the bosses at the end of the day are kind of random too. I don't know how many different variants they are. But this one, you know, is more of a horde. Like summons a horde of skeletons that kind of mess around, mess with you. And then you have to like fight him and the skeletons. It's a lot. So like it's a lot of fun. And then like let me find at the end of the day, you can fight like the super. That's a day 2. Ring finger. Demi-human queen. So this is like the second day boss. Nox Dragonkin Soldier. You have to make sure. So you constantly have to make sure like each day you got to keep leveling up, keep moving. That makes it a lot of fun in my opinion. The sort of hecticness of it. So this is day 3. You have to go through that door to fight the Night Lord. So here we go. And these are super annoying. We didn't end up beating this. Spoiler alert. Because like you have 2 enemies. The moth shoots like poison and like magic rays at you. Meanwhile the scorpions, it's like scorpion dudes, just like sort of like a tanky bruiser that keeps hitting you like straight up. No, they just have a ton of HP. So I'm doing like 300 damage. That's stuff. The health bar barely moves. I'm not good at targeting my targeting people. Like I said, I'm not too good at the game here, so I'm trying. You have to like hit your allies to revive them. So that took me way too long. I'm about to eat a hit here. No, I escaped. Nice. Good job, team. There's, you know, giant enemies, giant annoying enemies, super hard. You add in that sort of multiplayer element to it, and I think you get a really fun game. I've only played it maybe like 10 hours at this point, but I think it's still pretty good. I'm not sure why people are complaining. My guess is 1, you have connection issues with it. 2, it is a different format. Like it has a time constraint, and I don't think a lot of people like time constraints. I also like people don't like playing with other people. So having that restriction where you have to play with 3 people does, if you don't have a regular play group, does introduce a lot of issues. So if you're just playing solo, your solo experience can really vary depending on who you get, whether they disconnect or they quit, rage quit on you. It can be pretty bad. But in some ways, I think the variants can also be fun, where you just have, you know, everything clicks and you just have an awesome round, and it kind of negates like just terrible rounds too. So sometimes it really works, sometimes it doesn't. But, you know, that's kind of the fun, the gamble that you go into the game with. So overall, Night Rain, pretty fun. It is a $40 game, so it's expensive, you know, for what it is. But I think, you know, the simpleness of it, you know, the one map, it's not like some big sprawling enterprise that you just play over and over again, like sort of refine and play different classes. I like that stuff, that repeatable sort of gameplay loop where it's not, you know, this like 40-hour epic. It's like, I think the PlayStation's almost like an hour per run. I feel like that's how long it is. At least that's how I haven't recorded it. I guess we can look at the time here. Like it started out 4, and then we're fighting the Night Lord at here. I mean, that Night Lord fight just takes. One of the downsides is how long some of these boss fights takes. We end up losing. So it is about an hour. You know, 45 minutes. This run took. Unfortunately, it ended in a loss at the Night Lord. But you still get, you know, some stuff, some gems and money. Out of game money, they call it merc. So you get some stuff that can like give us small buffs to your character to make them slightly more powerful. So that's cool. Or like enable a different play style. So it's nice stuff. Overall, fun game. Fun game if you have people to play with. I'll say that. I think that is one of the X factors here is if you have a regular play group that you enjoy playing with, and they all have Night Rain. I think it's going to be a blast, guaranteed blast. If you're playing solo, who knows what you end up getting. It's a different thing altogether. But that's it for the podcast, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Night Rain, again, it's one of those things. If you have people to play with, I definitely recommend it. If you like Souls games, though it is like very different to like traditional like Souls, where you can be methodical, where you can just like fight the one boss over and over again until you succeed. With this, you have to go through, when you're fighting the Night Lord, you have to go through like 40 minutes of that's probably another reason they don't like it. You go through 40 minutes of gameplay, and then you got one shot at the Night Lord, and then you have to redo it 4 minutes. So in a way, like you'll almost lose your progress to when you do it. But I think it's a little more forgiving than Dark Souls in that sense, but it's still very hard. So thank you, guys. Look forward to seeing you next week. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I think Nuke is doing like some subathon stream. There's no post zero. So let me see if I can edit this. Redirect to that. Give him some love. Let's see. Let's search dating subathon. Nuke obviously does more of the red pill stuff, but we like him, so we're gonna give him some love. Scheduled for so I guess it's about to start, or it's live right now. So that's what I'll redirect to. Have a wonderful week, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.